Since 2011, American Giant has been making everyday clothing with extraordinary effort. Not in far-off factories, but right here in the USA. We obsess over fabrics, fit, and details, because if you're going to wear it every day, it should feel great and last for years. From the cut of a hoodie to the finishing of a seam, nothing is overlooked. Our supply chain is tight-knit and local, which means less crisscrossing the country and more care in every step. The result is durable clothing, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and denim that become part of your life season after season. This isn't fast fashion, it's clothing made with purpose by people who care as much about how it's made as how it fits. Get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with code STAPLE20.
The clock's running out on December deal drops at Lowe's, but there's still time to wrap up something they'll love. Shop great gifts under $50, like the DeWalt Elite Series 100-piece bit set. Plus, if you order by 2 p.m., you get same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Shop December deal drops while you can. Lowe's, we help, you save.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. If I look like I've been crying, that's because I just took a big old yawn. You ever had one of those yawns and then all of a sudden your eyes tear up? So I know you're probably like, oh my gosh, Kempire, are you okay? No, I'm fine. I just took a big old yawn right before this because this is pre-recorded recap of Kimora's Back in the Fab Lane. And I do want to talk about the final episodes of Owning Manhattan on Netflix. So before we get into any of that, be sure to let me know where you're watching from, first of all. I'm watching from rainy New York City. But also, don't forget, speaking of New York City, The Kempire After Dark, one night only. One night only. As I said before, this is the only show that I have planned for 2026. Not saying that I won't do maybe one-offs here and there, but right now, this is the only show that I'll be having in 2026, just because I got to prioritize my time in regards to doing tours and things like that, okay? But this New York City show has a special option. It has a live stream option. So if you enjoy the hot topics that we talk about here and you want an uncensored version of that where I spill tea and others in the audience spill tea, this is your opportunity to be a part. We have a live stream ticket for those that can't make it to New York City. We also have a meet and greet option as well. So when you go to buy your tickets, there'll be multiple options of where you can sit and you can add the meet and greet there. Or if you go all the way down the page, you'll be able to see the live stream option. Go get your tickets today. As I said to you before, it's always so important to venues and to promoters. If you want me to come to your city, they need to see shows like this sell out like that. So if you're in the New York City area or want to be in the New York City area, get your tickets today for our Friday, March 13th show at the Green Room 42 for the Kempire After Dark, one night only. One night only, because that's the only night I have planned. The only one, and I'm not looking to plan them anywhere else. Sorry. Anyway, okay, before we even get to Kimora Back in the Fab Lane, which next week is the final 2 episodes. Look. Final 2 episodes, and I have to say, this week's set of episodes actually had me invested. I told you, like, those first 4 episodes, I was like, okay, this is cute. I like where it's going. But, like, this week's episode, maybe because it was more so... And I have to say, the addition of Aoki, the last few episodes, has been good. I forgot how much of a ham she was. And still is. The young ladies that we got to know when they were little girls, now as older women, they still have that same sort of energy, where Ming is a little bit more serious... And Aoki is still very, like, quirky and interesting, but grown. Okay. All right, before we even get to that, Owning Manhattan. I've had a lot to say. I've done little TikToks and shorts talking about Owning Manhattan, and it was another really good season. And I've said before, and I'll say it again because I think it's important to emphasize, because I think it's important that producers and executives understand that we don't need interpersonal drama of cheating or just fighting to make interesting reality television. And yes, there's interpersonal drama that happens on Only Manhattan, but it's really about the real estate. Yes, they had a little bit of dramas between these two friends. I think her name is Jess and Jade, something like that. I can't remember all their names, okay? But we had a little bit of that drama in Only Manhattan season. Well, it happened in season 1, but we see a little bit of resolution and connection between those two because they've known each other for such a long time. We see a connection and a resolution to the relationship in season 2. Not complete, but definitely in a better space. Speaking of Jade, I really like Jade, but there's almost a little, it's sort of like that Reese Witherspoon character. I can't remember her name, but you remember when she played a lawyer, but she was, Legally Blonde. There we go. It's almost like that, but in real estate with Jade. Like, she's really smart, but if you look at her, you would probably be like, is she that smart? No, she seems like she's really smart and really a go-getter. And that's the theme that we see with this cast. But what I loved about this season, we had some really good, vulnerable, emotional moments. This season, it's really showing an evolution of Ryan Serhant's business. If you watch Ryan Serhant on $1 Million Listing, it really is sort of like not even a full circle moment, but an evolution of where he came from just being an agent and then stepping out on his own. And this season is, okay, he stepped out on his own, but now he needs to expand. He needs to bring in investors. And I think part of why he's scared of doing that, and that's the same thing as I continue to grow and build, I'm going to have to hire more people because it's just, things are getting big. I can only do so much. I just want to come and show up and giggle and twiddle my thumbs every once in a while. You know what I mean? So that is part of the evolution that we're seeing this season with Ryan Serhant. But the other thing that we're seeing is that we're seeing his home life, and we're seeing he can't, the way he started, where he didn't have his young daughter, but now he has a young daughter, and he's really becoming introspective on whether or not he's a good dad because he's not home. He doesn't feel like he's a good dad because he's always working. But then there's that other part of him that's very passionate about this work and elevating the work. So throughout the season, we see a few different things, if you've watched Ryan over the years, he has a very big social media presence. So he's very big on doing these little quirky ways of brokering deals. One of the deals that he did, a flash sale. This $12 million condo, he's like, I'm going to sell it for $6 million. Well, a flash sale. But the flash sale is really to garner people to have some sort of bidding war. But this season, that bidding war did not work out for him. Also, he did get an offer at the end of the season in regards to that Anna Delvey building, which is very unique, very interesting. And the person that was interested in it, they kind of want to do something very similar to what Anna Delvey wanted to do. Probably because the space is just so interesting. It has has a bar, it has a alcohol license, it has a restaurant, it has this and that. So that was like his big building that he wanted to sell. You remember the first season, he had that multi-million-dollar condo in the sky that I think it was like 200 something million for it. He ended up not being able to sell that. So his heart, that's one of the things that I really appreciated this season, was seeing his journey as a CEO. And it really feels like a story. They start off with him talking about, okay, what's the next step? I've started my own brokerage. What is the next step? And the next step for him, honestly, was, okay, letting the world know that we're serious and that we're here to stay. But the other element, and when you see it in this season, him meeting with possible investors, people that will come in, people that will have a percentage in the Serhant business, which right now he has 100%. But at the end of this season, you see him finally sit down, spoiler alert, You see him finally sit down with possible investors. Because now with bringing in these investors, it takes a little bit more pressure off of him, and he's able to do things that he wants, like spend time with his family, like take a vacation. One of the other things that we see this season, unfortunately, I always forget the name of the show is Owning Manhattan, but I always think that, you know, we can show real estate throughout New York City. It doesn't have to be just Manhattan, but it is called Owning Manhattan. And he lives in Brooklyn. If you followed his career and you followed him on reality television, you remember when he moved to Brooklyn. He bought this beautiful condo in Brooklyn. His former assistant, now agent, Jordan. What's Jordan's last name? I don't remember Jordan. The white Jordan. Sorry. That's the only way we're going to do it. There's a black Jordan and there's a white Jordan. I know Jordan March. That's the black Jordan. He brings him to an apartment this season to show him the apartment, to be like, okay, this is a possibility of what you can do. You know, are you ready to move back to Manhattan? Can I be honest? And look, he could do work on this apartment. I don't know what his plans. I don't even know if he decided to even get this apartment. But I remember him plotting and planning and seeing what he did with the Brooklyn townhouse that he had. Beautiful. This place, unless he's going to do a lot of renovations, I wasn't impressed. I was like, dude, I don't like this. And look, there's so many other possible places that he could choose from and afford. But I was like, this is not motivation for me to leave my Brooklyn place. Okay, and not at all. But it's also interesting, too, and you can raise children in Manhattan, but a lot of people end up moving to Brooklyn because they want family. They want a family. So that made sense for Ryan to move to Brooklyn. And this season, he's talking about, you know, how about some more kids? I just don't. And the other element is not just about space. It's not just about, you know, Brooklyn. Brooklyn really is probably a little bit more conducive if you want to live in a city, but also have a family and a park and do all of these different things. Not saying it's impossible in Manhattan, but that's why a lot of people end up moving to Brooklyn. Brooklyn isn't what it used to be, like they used to shame people in Sex and the City. Why it makes it seem like I'm the king of Brooklyn? Like, I'm not even from Brooklyn. But the thing is, I live in New York, so I understand the different boroughs. And this is going to lead us into us talking about Trisha. Trisha, buckle up. I don't even know if you even watch these, Trisha, but I do know you watched the TikToks that I did because you commented. And honestly, she was a breakout star in season 1, and she's a breakout star in season 2. Anyway, let's still talk about Trisha, because for me, she's also part of the heart of this season. Yes, we have all these different elements. I talked about last week how Trisha did not like Jess M, I think is her name. And here's the thing, even more played out with Jess M, because I think it was Jordan who needed her help, and she was helping Jordan show another property. She just proved Trisha's point. She proved Trisha's point because when Trisha and her husband, I think, went to go see this property. Oh, no, I think it was someone else. I don't remember. Oh, no, it was her husband that she went with. And they went to go look at this property. That's Jordan's property, but Jess was helping him out. And as soon as they come in, they're asking questions about the property. And she's like, I really don't know. I'm just helping out. And if you've ever worked in corporate America, then you know someone very much like Jess that sort of just is there, just does the bare minimum. And when they're asking questions about the property, she's like, I really don't know. I'm just helping out. And Trisha was so frustrated. She didn't show her frustration in that moment, but when she went back to Jordan, she was just like, she had no answers, like basic things that she could answer. So she does bare minimum. And this goes back to last week where Trisha was saying she tries to make it seem like on social media that being in real estate is so easy. And it's easy for her because a lot of the deals that she's brokering are friends or her boyfriend's friends, which in real estate, it's common that that's how you've gotten some of your clientele. But it seems like as if that's all she's gotten. And I can understand Trisha's frustration with that because she's like, nothing's been given to me. And that's okay if you're making these deals, but don't make it seem like that's going to be everyone's experience. And she just put the cherry on top to Trisha's point that when you're helping out another real estate agent, because honestly, if I came up in there and you didn't have answers for me, I would have left. And so there was no point of you being there, because I would have left, and it's like, I'm not even dealing. I probably would be like, I'm not even dealing with Jordan, because this is who you have representing you, because you can't be here. I don't even look at the property. You can't even sell the property. Very entitled. But back to Trisha, because my frustration with Trisha last week was the fact that she was just sort of like, I need to be in Manhattan. I want to be in Manhattan. And I said, Trisha, just be the queen of Brooklyn. But I also have to realize that this is called owning Manhattan. So if we're going to see Trisha on this show, she's got to be wheeling and dealing also in Manhattan. But I wouldn't be mad at seeing some Brooklyn real estate. I don't think we saw any Brooklyn real estate this season. No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, besides Ryan's, I wouldn't be mad to look at some Brooklyn real estate. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad to look at any New York City real estate, to be honest. Come on. But all right, because there's just so much building happening in New York in general, everywhere, even Staten Island. I had to go check the P.O. box. I did go check the P.O. box. Don't send any more mail to that P.O. box. The new P.O. box will be available in the description of this video. But it seems as if a lot of you got the memo, because I only had one package at the Staten Island P.O. box. But when I went to Staten Island, just there's so much being built there too. Things are being taken down. Things are being built. So it's happening across New York City because there's a housing shortage as well. But there are a lot of people leaving New York too. Not the billionaires and the millionaires, Ryan. Not the billionaires. A lot of people that can't afford New York have left New York. But Staten Island has seen a surge because people are just moving to Staten Island. Surprisingly, they're forced to move to the island. All right. Trisha's story, though. Trisha, and I suspected, because whoever produces this show, I think it's World of Wonder, the people that produce Drag Race, they understood this sort of full circle moment. And I had a feeling we were going to have a full circle moment, because in her conversation with Jordan, the white Jordan, they were in Balmain, and we learned a little bit more about Trisha and Trisha's mom. Her mom is no longer with us. Her mother was murdered. And she discovered this after going out on a date with an investigator. And she's like, maybe you can look in and find some information about this. So that opened up a conversation for her to have with her father. And that's where she learned more about her mother and how her mother built a life in businesses in Brooklyn. So there's a part of her like aching to be in Manhattan real estate. But in this season, she understands like, oh my gosh, I literally, not even knowing this, did the same exact thing that my mother did when she came to Brooklyn. Her grandmother, I think, is also from Brooklyn as well. Came to Brooklyn and she built multiple businesses. Remember, Trisha used to have, I think it was like a hair salon before getting into real estate. So she realized that she lived almost this parallel life with her mother without even knowing it. That was like my favorite moment of the season. My favorite moment of the season, because it really was a full circle moment where she was able to appreciate what Brooklyn means to her and what it means to her, what it meant to her mother. But also she landed a big commercial, because now this is the evolution, because a lot of y'all one or two of y'all were like, Kempire, let her evolve. It's not about evolving. It's understanding New York City real estate. She could do just as good in Brooklyn and then in Manhattan. But she did land a commercial space in prime Manhattan on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. So I'm guessing in season 3, we will see. I hope she sells it. Like, I'm rooting for you, Trisha. I hope she sells this space, okay? But the thing is, when she was asked questions on the spot from this developer, she just came up with the ideas. But this goes back to being a woman of color, a black woman in these spaces. And it reminds me of Omarosa. You have to be 10 times better than your white counterparts in every arena, real estate, entertainment, all of it, okay? And in that moment, she delivers to her, and her husband deliver to this developer, and he's just like, you know what, I'm going to give you the job. I hope next season we see that I guess we can go take a field trip and go see the space ourselves. I was so impressed, so impressed. What else happened during the season? Speaking of women of color, we have Genesis, who we were introduced to a little bit in season 1, but you get to see a lot more of her in season 2. And I already was very annoyed with Jess, the other Jess, this is a different Jess, the blonde Jess, because she was accusing Genesis of poaching one of her clients. And Genesis showed her the email and was just like, that is not true. And proved it, which led to Niall, I think it's her lead in her team, who's also really good at real estate. He gets into a heated, almost physical confrontation with Jess's other partner in this business. And this gets to Ryan. Ryan is just like, this can't happen. This cannot happen. But Ryan brings all of them together for this Miami. You see what I'm saying? Like, we're in Miami. We could be in Brooklyn. So Ryan took them all on a private jet to Miami because they're going to sell this Mercedes. Mind you, the building's not even up yet. I went to look. The building, I think, comes in a few years. But, of course, these are the moments where you can start already buying condos, even though they're not built yet. So when they're on the private jet, White Jordan, and Jess, who already was coming for Genesis. So Genesis is talking with Niall, reveals to Niall, I sold one of the apartments. He's like, one of the Mercedes apartments? And she's like, yes. She said she didn't, at that particular point, she didn't have it in contract yet, but basically the person said that they wanted, the lady's name was Mercedes as well. But Jess and Jordan are over there cackling and talking about Genesis and saying, oh, Niall just puts her name on all of his sales, making it seem like, oh, she's done it, but she hasn't done it. She's going to have to choose, because she also is an entertainment reporter for Telemundo, Genesis. So she does multiple jobs. And here's my frustration with it. And this is where white privilege comes into perspective, because people do not when you're white, you're not going to see this. And for the white people watching, because we have a very mixed channel, everyone is welcomed here. This is something important to understand. You will never understand where Genesis is coming from, why she feels that she has to have her hand in multiple things. Because Jess, like, I don't know, like we don't have the privilege of being slash at anything else. So she's coming down on Genesis for having other jobs. Mind you, this job at Telemundo has helped her meet other people to help sell them real estate. And I'm not saying that Genesis is perfect, and I'm not saying that Genesis is harder worker than any of these other people, because we're only seeing a splash of their business. We don't even know how they really sell, okay? However, what I saw, these two mean girls, yes, Jordan, you're a mean girl, and Jess on that plane talking about Genesis, it's like, oh, she's a slash, this, that's that. You wouldn't know that, because you don't understand that a woman of color has to have many things in the fire in order to make it. You don't understand that life at all. You don't even realize that you have that privilege. And that's not to say that you don't work hard. But as I've said before, women of color, women have to work 10 times harder. And just, yes, you're a woman, but sometimes women, white women, do not see their privilege and do not see how they benefit more from things like DEI. But anyway, guys are just joining us. Do not forget to like the video. If you're listening to this, do not forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Club Kempire Baddies, I owe you an episode, but it's been busy. It's the holidays. You should be out. You shouldn't be listening to me anyway. You should be out shopping. I should be out shopping. I think I just have like 1 or 2 more things that I need to make a list. Like, I've really made sure that I've taken care of like people that I work with and service people and stuff like that. But like friends, family, that kind of thing. Like, I have things already, but I need to like start wrapping and putting things in like bags and whatnot. I don't have a lot. I really don't have a lot. And y'all don't have to get me anything. People ask me, Empire, what should we get you? What should I'd much rather you not get me anything or get me a card, because I'm a particular person in regards to, like, if I feel like your gift did not put any thought into it, in my head, I'm judging you. I'm a Taurus. Because here's the thing, the kind of gift giver I am. In February, if you said that you really like something, I'm already making a mental note. I'm like, oh, that might be a good gift for their birthday or for Christmas. Or if I don't do it for their birthday, I'll get it for Christmas. I literally just had that thought for someone. So that's just how I am. I put a lot of thought usually in gifts. And if I don't feel that connection with you, I'm not getting you a gift. Unless you're like a server, like you do some sort of service, like you work in this building or something like that. Then I'm like, okay, I'll give you cash. Okay. There's not a lot of thought into that. But even that, because like not everybody's getting the same amount. Just saying, some people go above and beyond for me in this building. And I'm like, I'm going to make sure I take care of you come the holiday. I mean, I take care of them during the year, you know, like I'll get lunch on me kind of thing. But that's me. I'm not saying that's what you need to do, but that's me. I'm judging you. Back to this. So the other Jordan, let's talk about the other. Oh, a sidebar. I didn't like the fact that Genesis elevated that, because at one particular point, she does reveal to the Mean Girls that she sold one of the properties, and she says she sold it for $3 million, but she really only sold it for $1 million. She eventually had to tell Ryan. I was just, you know, because I haven't liked what they've been saying about me. I completely get it, but again, I don't like the fact that you lied about how much you sold it for. Okay. But anyway, but at least you sold something. I'm just saying. All right. I'm surprised it was only sold for $1 million though. And was it like a 1-bedroom? I don't remember. Or was it 3-bedroom? I don't remember how big that particular property was. Not to say that I was looking. I'm not really looking to live in Florida. Okay. No shade to Florida. Shout out to our Floridians, right? Shout out to our Floridians. All right. Let me talk about one other thing that I wanted to talk about. I loved all the property, though, this season. I love looking at I'm literally rewatching season 2. You know, I rewatched season 1 like 4 times. That's how good it was. So this season, I just like looking at the properties. I in another life, if I was to do another YouTube channel, and I might do this, one thing I would want to do is go and look at New York City property and see how the people are living, kind of thing. Like that, for me, would be my favorite thing to do. I don't know why I haven't done it, but because I'm doing so many other things. I'm like Ryan Serhant. I got too many irons in the fire right now. So, all right, let's move on to Jordan March. I didn't forget about you, Jordan, handsome self. Anyway, who's a Scorpio? Okay, Scorpio. Sidebar, before we get to Jordan, I do want to talk about, I think her name is Just Sue. They all have the same name, I feel like. The one that had the fight with Jade. And she's also a Broadway, like she wanted to be a Broadway star. So she implements that in selling one of the properties where she does like this whole Broadway routine. And Ryan's like, this is a lot of time and effort for something that might not guarantee that you're going to sell it. They do eventually sell it. But we also see a full circle moment for her this season. She ends up auditioning. I think she was auditioning, right? Auditioning for, I don't know if it was a Broadway thing, but this is what she wants to do. And she is a really talented singer. She really is. She had her own drama. Her dog got sick this season and she was like in the streets of New York crying, and she's calling Jade, even though her and Jade are no longer cool like that. Felt a little performative, Jess, but you're also a creative, so I'm not surprised that you were a little dramatic. That's fine. I enjoy her. I think she's good reality television too. But Jordan March. Jordan's big issue this season is to be seen by Ryan Serhant, because Ryan at the top of the season brings in this broker from Cochrane, and brings in, not Cochrane, Cochrane. Yeah. Brings in this new person that was doing big things somewhere else into Serhant. And there are a few deals that he does this season as well. But he lacks a je ne sais quoi that Jordan has, which I found to be interesting because you see them both go for a property, a new development. But Jordan doesn't have new development experience. But Sexy Rabbit, I think his name is Peter. Peter Sexy Rabbit. His last name is like Russian, and it means sexy rabbit. We learned that from Ryan's driver. So they both are going after this property. After Jordan felt like Ryan surpassed him and gave this new or other property, this big property, to this new guy. So he's already this season. He already meets with another. I think it's Douglas Elliman. He speaks with another agent there, and he's really in his head thinking, maybe I will leave Sirhan after helping start this new company with Ryan. So that's part of his frustration with Ryan. You don't see me, and I helped you build what we have here, and you keep giving things to other people. And Ryan's like, I don't give people what they think they deserve. And I'm like, I mean, I kind of get that. And I wasn't sure. Again, we're watching a snapshot of these people in their career. I can't tell you that one person is actually the best agent. If anything, what they could do in the third season is actually give us a scorecard when you introduce them. Oh, this person sold this amount of property in 2024. You know what I mean? So something like that might kind of give the viewers like, well, this guy's serious business. Look at his numbers. But maybe that would break the fourth wall too much. Maybe some of these people are just better reality than they are real estate agents. I don't know. I feel that way about the white Jordan, though.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Holidays bring feasting, fluffy dinner rolls, tasty stuffing, and your family's French toast bakes. With Hero Bread, indulge in your holiday favorites. Made with Hero Bread's sliced bread loaves, bagels, croissants, buttermilk biscuits, and more. And don't forget their Hero Hawaiian Rolls, with 4 grams of protein and 0 grams net carbs. Hero Bread has you covered with 0 to 5 grams net carb and higher fiber options, so your holidays stay delicious and balanced. Like their 3 grams net carb pan of chocolat. Hero Bread is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use code FALL25 at checkout. That's FALL25 at HERO.co. All figures are per serving of Hero Bread. Contains up to 17 grams of fat per serving. See the product nutrition panels on hero.co for more information.
I've got Dan Morgan here on the pod. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dan Morgan. I'm an attorney and a managing partner at Morgan & Morgan, which is America's largest injury law firm.
That's pretty awesome. I think I saw a billboard of yours recently that said 20 billion won. 20 billion is an insane number.
Yeah, 20 billion recovered. It's actually, I think, somewhere north, probably closer to 22, 23 after this year. And each year we get bigger and badder and our army grows. So the number will hopefully keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Awesome. So how does someone get in contact with Morgan & Morgan? What would I do if I got into an accident?
Probably the easiest way is dialing pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. We are always open. Our call center is always waiting to take your call. 24/7, 365.
Wow. Dan Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having me.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Because you remember he got kicked off the 96th Street situation, and they gave that to Nile. Nile got a few people to buy. However, the developer for that was a little like, You know, that's the thing. You're going to be dealing with multiple personalities in the real estate world. I couldn't do it. I can't get into sales. That would I'd probably be fantastic at it. I just don't want to. I don't want to sit around and try and convince you to do anything, buy, sell, or anything. And it's a hustle. I'm done hustling. Rewinding back. So Jordan and Peter both went for this new development that's in downtown Manhattan. I love that building. I love the way that they sort of built that building in between these two buildings. I was like, oh, that's really creative how they did this. Anyway, so they both go to meet with the developer, and they're interviewing. We're seeing them interview for this property. And I have to say, Peter, although his resume, according to them, he's sold a lot. It's very impressive. However, watching him interview versus Jordan M interview, Jordan is just more charismatic. I was really happy for Jordan when we find out that he ends up getting this new development. And I was like, to me, that made complete sense. He was more convincing. He was more charismatic. I'm sure the developer was probably like, I feel like this guy's going to be able to sell more. But if you look at their resumes, I'm not sure if if it's even close. I don't know. I really don't know. Again, I would much rather see some sort of scorecard to kind of give us some more perspective on, is this person really selling like they claim that they are? Maybe, maybe not. Wow, I didn't realize I was going to talk this much. It's just there were so many episodes. There were 8 episodes. We talked about the first 3 last week. But it was a good season. Netflix, next year, if you want a promo, pay me. Pay me! Very much like Starz paid me for their promo. Right? Right. And it was a good season. It was a good season. If you guys had to rate this season of Owning Manhattan, how would you rate it? And what did you think of it? If you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments section. All right. Let's get to Kimora. I don't know if I have 30 minutes to talk about Kimora because it's literally 20-something minute episodes, and they give us 2 episodes each week. Next week is the season finale. However, I did two videos talking about a back and forth between Kimora and Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons is responding to Kimora Lee in regards to her not having a relationship with her ex-husbands, which made me go down a rabbit hole as to what broke this relationship apart. And I'm not even talking about when they were married, because they were very amicable exes for a very long time. So I've been recapping Kimora Back in the Fab-Lane, their new reality show. If you missed it, you can find it here on our YouTube channel. And I said it was a good thing that Kimora Lee, formerly Simmons, did not do Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because all of this dirt, all of what's been happening between her and her exes would be brought up by some of the other housewives. They would love having her on the show to use her to keep the show being interesting. A lot of you are saying the current season of Beverly Hills is not so interesting. But if you watch Kimora Back in the Fab-Lane, it's very curated reality as opposed to the reality that's actually happening in the courtrooms between Kimora and her ex, Russell Simmons. As you know, Russell Simmons is living his life in Bali, hiding from some of the accusations that former employees and women that have been close to him have against him.
Yup.
Well, he's responding to Kimora's recent interview. So let's just talk about that particular part first. Because Kimora did an interview in promotion of her new reality show, and our friends over at The Griot write this, that the fashion mogul and reality TV star explained to People in a recent interview why her relationship with the fathers of her 5 biological children is close to non-existent. She says, usually I would say that I co-parent okay, but the kids are with me full time, Simmons told the outlet. I'm pretty much the primary parent. It's difficult, but I don't know sometimes what other people are thinking. Guys are weird. She shares 2 daughters, as you know, 25-year-old Ming Lee and 23-year-old Aoki Lee with ex-husband Russell Simmons, a son, 16-year-old Kenzo with actor Dimon Hansu, and another son, 10-year-old Wolf, with former investment banker Tim Leisner. She also is the parent of a 16-year-old Gary, who she adopted from Jamaica in 2020, and a bonus son, a 19-year-old Jaden, who has lived with the family since the 4th grade. With her primary focus on children, Simmons says that she gives the idea of another relationship zero thought. She says, my life doesn't ever revolve around a guy, ever, she said. I am thankful I am able to be there for my family in ways that other people or parents are not. Simmons remains a mama bear for her village, including the children of Kim Porter. In an interview with Today, Simmons revealed that she's a surrogate mom for Porter's twins, Delilah and Jesse, who are now 18 years old. She said, one of my friends who passed away, Kim Porter, I have all of her kids, Simmons told Jenna Bush Hager and guest host Scarlett Johansson, even though some of them are adults, but some of them are 18 twins. Motherhood and enriching her village are just two of the aspects Simmons returns to reality television. Her Kimora Back in the Fabland show airs on E, which, as I said before, we recap. So Russell Simmons had a few thoughts in regards to the interview that she did with People. And he decided to wake up this morning and reveal those thoughts. In a post on social media, Russell Simmons says this: "I gave you $50,000 a month for 20 years. So I did the math, that's $12 million over 20 years. He says, "I was your best/only friend." Okay. "I'm the godfather to your other 3 children." Okay. He says, "Until one day you stole my stock." So if you've been following my recaps, and anytime I talk about Kimora, I've said this, for those that haven't been following the story, that there is this now beef between them, but they were amicable for a long time. As you can see here, 20 years. He says, "I have been fighting for my kids' love and my bread ever since. You threatened that if I sued you, I would never speak to my kids again. There are 2 sides to every story." Look, we also have to think about other elements to the story, because there are accusations that Russell Simmons groomed Kimora when she was just 16 years old. That's when he apparently met her, when she was just 16, allegedly. So that has followed him for a very long time. They went on to have a very long relationship, 2 children together, and a very amicable relationship. She also was the creator behind his other brand, Baby Fat, which went on to be hugely successful, even more successful than Fat Farm. Baby Fat is still around to today, and she's bought that business back, and she owns that herself. She's also an owner of Celsius, the energy drink. So I wanted to go down that rabbit hole because back in 2024, apparently In Touch wrote this, that Russell Simmons headed to trial with ex-wife Kimora Lee in fight over millions. Russell Simmons and his ex-wife Kimora Lee are headed for a face-off in court as a part of their nasty battle over stocks worth millions. In Touch can exclusively report. They said, according to court documents obtained by In Touch, a Los Angeles Superior Court judge set a trial date for January 2nd, 2026. So this is perfect timing for her reality show and for us to be talking about this. In the lawsuit brought by Russell Simmons, who's 67, against Kimora, who's 49, and her ex, Tim Leisner. Because the other element to the Tim Leisner, the investment banker that was also involved in his own criminality, allegedly, apparently he was married to someone else when he married Kimora, so it made Kimora's marriage to him null and void. That was the word on the street. So the parties have been fighting in court for years over shares in energy drink company Celsius. Russell and Kimora were married in 1998 until 2009. Kimora married Tim in 2014, but the two became estranged during his legal issues. I don't even recall there being a divorce. Because can you get a divorce with someone that's already married? Tim, a former Goldman Sachs investment banker, was caught up in a massive scandal called 1MDB. There's a lot. If you just go down the rabbit hole in regards to that, there's some more celebrity names attached to that one too. The government described it as a multi-billion-dollar bribery and money laundering scheme involving Malaysia's state-owned investment and development fund, One Malaysia Development Berhad. Tim pleaded guilty to conspiring to launder money and another charge. He agreed to forfeit $43 million, along with shares of stock valued at $200 million. In 2021, Russell Simmons sued Kimora and Tim for breach of contract, fraudulent concealment, and various other claims. In his lawsuit, he claimed that he created a company called New Horizons in 2011. He was the sole member and manager. He said that Kimora and Tim joined the company as members in 2016. Russell said despite his divorce from Kimora, they maintained a solid relationship. He said that he became close with Tim over the years, too. Russell said that he had New Horizons purchase tens of millions in stock for Celsius in 2016. My thing is, I will believe Russell in regards to this because if Tim is admitting guilt to the other scam, what makes us think that he was doing legitimate business anywhere else? No. He said Kimora and Tim, knowing full well that they would be required to pay tens of millions for bail and a victim compensation plea deal, conspired with each other and with all defendants to effectuate the unlawful fraudulent scheme following Tim's criminal case being brought. Russell claimed that Kimora and Tim used the stock in Celsius as bond in Tim's criminal case without his consent. Kimora denied the accusations. Well, can't that all be proven? She told the court that Russell had resigned from his role as manager of New Horizons in January of 2018. She said that when the stocks were used as bond, so she's admitting that the stocks were used as bond, it was my understanding that Russell Simmons was no longer a manager or a member of New Horizons, and that he had no ownership interest in the shares of the stock in Celsius Holdings Incorporated that were used to secure a bond in the criminal case. Tim denied allegations of wrongdoing. He asked that Russell take nothing from his complaint. All parties told the judge they want a jury trial. As In Touch first reported, the parties also are fighting in federal court over the stocks. As a part of Tim's criminal case, Russell and Kimora have been going back and forth for months over who owns the stocks. Recently, the two were fighting over Kimora turning over text messages she exchanged with Tim. His lawyer said the only text messages Kimora has produced appear to be messages sent or received by Tim, not her. Russell is entitled to text messages that contain responsive content, excluding those between her and Tim, unless third parties are also party to those messages. The battle is ongoing. And this is from November of 2024. So I don't know what's been going on since then, but they have a trial date for January 2nd of next year. So which is literally right around the corner. I don't know if they've changed that date because a lot can change in a year. So I just had to refresh your memory on what this battle was. But like Russell Simmons says, they had a very amicable relationship for a very long time. And it wasn't until she got involved with this scammer, he's convicted, we can call him that, this scammer, that there was any sort of issue between them. And this was probably like the first time that we saw a break in their relationship. And then we saw a break in the relationship between Aoki and Russell. But if you watch our recaps of Kimora back in the Fab Lane, Aoki just spent several months in Bali. You're not telling me that she was in Bali and not hanging out with her father. I even believe there was a picture of them together in Bali. I mean, this is all unfortunate because if there is any sort of estrangement from the children that might be due to Kimora, I don't know if I necessarily 100% believe that. The estrangement might be the fact that you're thousands of miles away hiding from accusations of sexual harassment here in the States, allegedly. Kimora Lee is responding to her ex-husband, Russell Simmons, and she's responding to Funkmaster Flex because he alleged that she had a relationship with DaBaby. Well, we have some more updates in regards to the saga, the ongoing online saga between Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee. So yesterday we put out a video letting you know that Russell Simmons was slamming Kimora Lee for her claiming that she had no relationship with any of her ex-husbands. And he says, well, I gave you $50,000 a month for 20 years, which calculated to about $12 million. Then we went down a rabbit hole as to why Russell Simmons was suing Kimora and her ex-husband, Tim Leisner. Okay, we went down that rabbit hole. If you want to understand why he's suing and why he wants his stocks back, he's claiming, be sure to check that out. All right, but let me give you an update in regards to their back and forth on social media. Well, not really a back and forth, more so Kimora responding. And we also have some information that came out as well. First of all, Kimora took to her Instagram story to say, my girls, in quotes, are grown women. You know, these are lies. Why are you typing from thousands of miles away in a non-extradition country? Okay. He's in Bali. Apparently, he moved to Bali after being accused by multiple women of sexual harassment, SA, allegedly. She says, you know, these are lies. Why are you typing from the thousands of miles away in a non-extradition company? Go negotiate and answer your accusers. But our friends over at the Breakfast Club, Lauren LaRosa, got some exclusive information So she wrote this in a couple of tweets. She says, I spoke to a source close to Kimora Lee Simmons on Russell Simmons' response to her no relationship with her kid's father's comments to People. Backstory. In response to the above, Russell Simmons responded via Threads saying that he gave Kimora $50,000 a month for 20 years, was the godfather of some of her other kids, and alleged that she stole stocks. And alleges since all of this, he's been fighting for his money and his kids' love. Russell Simmons alleges that Kimora threatened he'd never see the kids again if he sued her. So, in response, according to Lauren LaRosa's source, they say this: whatever money Russell Simmons referencing having given her was court-ordered child support from almost over a decade ago, not a gift, which a lot of you were saying in the comment section. It's also public info, and so is the actual amount and the number of years he paid, both of which he overstated. So she's saying that it wasn't for 20 years, which actually doesn't make sense too. I mean, it makes sense that it was definitely not 20 years because I'm sure that's cut off when they turn 18 and they didn't get divorced immediately when they had kids. So anyone can do the research and the math, according to this source. They said regarding the alleged threat that Kimora would keep the kids away, her source says what she said was that his erratic behavior and abuse would alienate his family and friends, and it has. And that's when Aoki took to social media to share an erratic video from Russell Simmons. You know, Zen Russell Simmons was going off on her. My source continues to allege that no one is keeping anyone from anyone. His daughters are grown adults, 25 and 23 years old. One of them has been to Bali, and I talked about that. She did end up seeing her father there because he shared video footage of her doing yoga. On what Russell Simmons and Kimora's relationship is like today, Lauren LaRose is told Kimora has had to go no contact with Russell Simmons, and it's been that way for 5 years or more. Probably because he's currently suing her. Again, go check the last video that I did on this, suing her for allegedly stealing his stock. Thank you to Lauren LaRosa from The Breakfast Club in regards to an update when it comes to this. But that wasn't the only drama in regards to Kimora Lee. The other drama that you may not know and we haven't really been able to talk about was that Ebro in the Morning over there at Hot 97 has been officially canceled. For one day, though, they had Funkmaster Flex, who's been at Hot 97 for many, many years. He was on the radio alleging that she had slept with the baby. Even if she did, she's single, at least now, right? I don't know when he's alleging this happened. Let me just play for you.
She's a bird, continue to storm.
This is Funkmaster Flex.
Now, Flex, you know you can't say that.
What's her name?
Miss Kimora Lee Simmons.
Russell's all wife, right?
Back to the family.
Why is he always yelling? Like, this is not pleasurable to the ear. If you're listening to the radio, why would someone, like, if you're partying, okay, maybe that gets you hyped, but not for a morning show.
But back to the family.
And the baby was beaten at. Go ahead. Finish the story.
Say word.
Finish the story.
Oh my God, why is he always yelling? So, the baby came out to speak and said this.
Hey, I just seen my face and my name attached to some shit out of respect for the woman. You know what I'm saying?
Now he wants to respect women, but okay.
Who goddamn they speaking on. I felt the need to come clear that shit up. That is 1,000% false. OG, I don't know what the hell you got going on or what even made you goddamn feel comfortable enough to goddamn throw my name out there so loosely like that. But that ain't true. I'm looking forward to seeing you clear that up. I'm disappointed. I'm looking forward to you clearing that up, Flex. But hell yeah, that ain't true at all. I ain't got no tea, no none of that for nobody right now.
Okay, so he basically saying it's not him. Well, his story's not over yet. No, don't go anywhere. That story's not over. So Funk Flex took to his Instagram story to say, wait, I'm talking about Birdman. You know, Tony Braxton's husband? Baby, not the baby. And he adds the Shade Room who had posted this. Sir, what are we to do with this information? When did it happen? If you're going to spill some tea, when did it happen? Was it while she was married to one of these men? And why are you spilling this tea today? Did Russell call you up? Does Russell still have you guys on the pipeline? It's not making sense. And at this particular point, we don't care. And we don't want you screaming in our ear for a morning show. Hot 97, do better. A lot of you are saying, how about if he's suing Kimora, how about you come to the United States? Look, he is currently suing Kimora. And he doesn't have to be in the United States to sue Kimora. But very much like what Kimora said, how about you come back to the United States and address the accusations against you? I don't think him being in Bali necessarily really protects him. And I don't know if he's ever left Bali since. He's been over there for a few years now at this particular point. I don't even know. I think it might be 5 years at this particular point that he's been over there in Bali, escaping these accusations against him. I'm not surprised, because if you've known Kimora over the years, she's never been one to hold her tongue, even though she's been holding her tongue when it comes to a lot of stuff. But I think she holds her tongue on certain things to protect herself. And I can't even blame her for that, especially when we're thinking about the dangerous things that some of these men have gotten away with. Guys, I want to know your thoughts and opinions on this latest update in regards to Kimora Lee, Russell Simmons, the baby, and Funkmaster Flex. I just wanted to let you know. I mean, I did 2 videos about it. Just a quick synopsis. Basically, when she was doing promo, Kimora was doing promo for Kimora back in the Fab Lane. She was asked about her ex-husband. She's like, I don't communicate with my ex-husbands. She basically was just like, I don't communicate with them, which we all knew, even though she did have an amicable relationship with Russell for a long time. However, that is no longer no longer that. So he went on social media, Russell, and blasted her, basically. I was trying to find, because he did another response the other day, and I was trying to find his recent update, because he was backpedaling like a mother after her response. So initially, Uncle Rush is his name on socials. He commented under the People magazine post where she says she doesn't have a relationship with her kids' fathers. He says, I gave you $50,000 a month for 20 years. I was your best/only friend. I'm the godfather to your other 3 kids until one day you stole my stock. I've been fighting for my kids' love and my bread ever since. We went down a rabbit hole in those other videos. If you want a deeper dive, those 2 most recent videos that I did, I do talk about what he's talking about in regards to the stock. He says, you threatened that if I sued you, I would never speak to my kids again. There are 2 sides to every story, he said. So Kimora, in her Instagram story, just said this: my, quote, girls are grown women. You know these are lies. Why are you typing from 1,000 miles away in a non-extradition country? Go negotiate and answer your accusers. I always forget that Kimora is a Taurus. She's May 11th. No, May 11th. I'm May 11th. She's May 4th, a week before me. And I was like, this is why I like Kimora. This is why I respect Kimora. I didn't realize it until I was reminded. I was like, oh, wait a second. I forgot she's a Taurus. And we're in our villain era. Please understand. Russell knows that Kimora knows a lot more. Hence why he was backpedaling after she said that. We also found out, and I did a separate video. Again, if you want more details on this, go check out those other videos because I give you a lot more information. Lauren LaRosa from The Breakfast Club also got more details from her sources. The source is probably Kimora. Because they're basically saying, first of all, what you're saying here is not true. You were, first of all, legally mandated to give me child support for the 2 children, which apparently was $50,000 a month. But you're not mandated to give child support past 18 years of age. So 20 years, again, people exaggerate. So they talk about some of that stuff, and that all played out. And I talk about that in the videos that I did this past week. The other element, though, because the accusers part, where she said, go answer your accusers, shout out to our friends over on X, Batty TV, because they gave us an update from November 3rd. They posted this. in regards to Russell Simmons and his accusers, because apparently he settled some of these cases. So I got your update. So we do have an update in regards to this. So they wrote this back on November 3rd. Russell Simmons settles with 3 women following years of misconduct allegations. Some of y'all didn't even know that Russell Simmons was in Bali and has been in Bali since being accused of sexual harassment and SA. Some of y'all didn't even know that. I mean, I can't blame you. It's my job to know and to inform you. Yeah, he's been there for years at this point. So they say Russell Simmons has reportedly settled with 3 women following years of long-standing misconduct allegations. An attorney for the victims confirmed the matter is resolved, though details remain confidential. That's what usually happens in a settlement. Everyone signs an NDA. According to the court filings from October of 2024, Wendy Franco, Sil Lai Abrams, and Sherry Abernathy claimed that Simmons had not fulfilled a 2023 settlement agreements totaling over $3 million. Documents show that he agreed to pay Franco $515,000, Abrams and Abernathy $1.265 million each. Legal filings also indicate Simmons owed at least $8 million to 3 other women, though only a fraction has reportedly been paid. Abrams and Abernathy previously accused Simmons of alleged assaults decades ago, while Franco's claims relate to physical harm and related impacts, according to court documents. They give credit to Rolling Stone for this update. So that was back in November. Okay? So hence why Kimora's like, go answer your accusers. And then I saw his response recently. He was like, I wish I could find it. I couldn't find it. But he was backpedaling like a mother. And I say this because Kimora knows a lot more. And I've been saying that Kimora knows where the bodies are buried. And she chooses not to say anything. Okay? It's so funny because Kimora, let me find it. I got to find this because I sent it to a group chat the other day because I thought this was hilarious. Kimora she was celebrating Kim Porter. You know, they were best friends. Kim Porter, Diddy's baby's mother, late ex. I sent in the group chat. Okay, let me go because I hate a group chat. If y'all don't know by now, I hate a group chat. And this is probably the only group chat. No, I got one other group chat. I don't like a group chat because I don't like the notifications. It gets annoying to me because, And then I can't keep up with it, and then I get annoyed. All right, let me show you what I put in the group chat, though. Look, someone that doesn't like a group chat, I'm putting stuff in the group chat. Okay? So, Kimora posted a picture celebrating Kim Porter's birthday. She says, "Happy birthday, my dear sister, Lady KP. We miss you so much." She also talked about how she's still very much in the twins' lives and things like that, and her kids' lives. She says, "We miss you so much. I'm trying to gather these dudes up down here. They can't take the fabulosity. Look how you got them acting up. Cheers to beautiful you." She's so unfiltered, but if you know a Taurus, and this is why I say there's so much stuff that I actually sit on versus what I spill during Kempire After Dark. Get your tickets today. Ticket information is available for the New York City show on March 13th. Can you imagine the stuff I haven't told you? Tauruses are like a vault. We're like a vault. So there's a lot of stuff that she is sitting on that I know she could spill and she hasn't. So when she says this to Russell took that warning and he's a backpedaling. He was a backpedaling.
Amazon 5-Star Theater presents Real Customer Reviews performed by Ed Helms. Tonight's review, Tactical Jacket. I was living a simple life. Didn't get out much. Then, I bought this jacket, and everything changed. Women came flocking to me from lands domestic and foreign. I bought a motorcycle. Started hanging out with drug dealers, but like rich ones. And we flew helicopters. I ended up taking down a communist regime with a band of rebels. On the 245-day sailboat voyage home, I was attacked by a shark. I knew it was the jacket he was after. I tossed it, giving up the jacket in exchange for my life. I'm alive today, but jacketless. We'll buy this jacket again soon. 5 stars. Amazon customer 69. Thank you for listening to Amazon 5-Star Theater. Looking for unforgettable gifts this holiday season, like a jacket that becomes your whole personality? Shop the perfect gift this holiday on Amazon.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
All right. Let's get to this episode. Because again, like I said, they're light, fun episodes. I don't feel like there's a lot for me to say. The first episode, which I can appreciate, I felt like it was an educational week as well. Because Ming talks about having PCOS. And she meets with this doctor that has worked with Hailey Bieber, the Kardashians, all kinds of famous people. So she meets with this doctor because of her PCOS, because the doctor has been recommending that she take some of her eggs out and save them while she's young. She's 25 years old. Take some of your eggs out now because as you get older, your eggs are not going to be viable. And if you decide to have children, you need to be able to at least have a fighting chance. So Ming meets with her. We get to see one of her closest friends. Apparently, Brett Ratner. Was it Brett Ratner? Somebody famous was there. Which in my head, y'all, hear me out. I'm not saying something, but I'm saying something. Her friend was so starstruck by Brett that made me kind of go, "Are you just friends?" And again, I don't know her friend and who her friend might be associated with at all. But for her to get so starstruck, I was like, Ming, watch that one. Because she might be just your friend. And again, they've been friends for a long time. But I was like, she might just be your friend for the perks of being Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee Simmons' daughter. It stood out to me, but I'm not saying anything. She said that she's very close. Fine. Okay. So she meets with this doctor, and the doctor gives her the advice, and it's going to be costly. Insurance doesn't cover egg retrievals and things like that. So she's like, I got to speak to my mom about this. Yeah, she's got to speak to her mom about this. However, her mom's going to have to pay for it because apparently Ming doesn't have any money. Mind you, we also see, I believe it's this episode. No, I think it's the second episode, but it's all the same for me. Where the daughters do model for baby fat. Apparently, baby fat is still a viable business. It's still around. I mean, again, it's female clothing, so that's why I don't know of it. But it's still a viable business, and the daughters model for baby fat, and they do modeling in other places. Apparently, Aoki was on the cover of Teen Vogue. Didn't they just close Teen Vogue? Didn't they just close it? Or something? Did I make that up? Or they just fired their staff. I think they just closed Teen Vogue. A lot of changes will happen over there at Condé Nast after Anna Wintour left. A lot of changes. Just saying. You think with her salary going away that they would have more money? Maybe not. Or maybe Anna, being a little antiquated was the one keeping those things thriving and going. And they were like, people are not reading magazines like that anymore. Maybe not. Y'all saw that they announced that Beyonce is going to be one of the co-chairs with the Bezos of it all. She's going to be the co-chairs of the Met Gala this year. And now everyone's speculating that there's going to be the Act 3 is finally coming. So what happens after Act 3, y'all? Is Beyonce going to retire? That's the speculation too. So they think that Act 3 is going to come right after the Met Gala. They're thinking May 29th. And then, you know how the Beehive is. They connected all the dots. And I was like, That kind of makes sense, Beehive. That kind of makes sense. Fine, but okay. All right, I've digressed. So she meets with her doctor. Then she has a conversation with her mother at the end of the episode. I love seeing Kimora and her daughters together. I wasn't sure how to feel, but watching this new iteration of Kimora back in the Fab Lane, it reminds me why I loved Kimora years ago. And she was always so funny. And I love the fact that E is showing old clips, reminding us of like, oh my God, Kimora has always been so funny. These young women were so funny back in the day. But also, it's so interesting to watch them as grown women and their personalities not be much different. Aoki, I forgot how funny Aoki was. And I love seeing the banter between her, Kimora, and her daughters. Because you could tell she's a cool mom, but at the same time, she doesn't play that. And she never did when you watch the old series. And what I can appreciate, and we were just talking about this, I forgot where, we were talking about it with, about Dr. Simone and Married to Medicine. I'm okay with, especially children of color, Black children, being privileged and enjoying that privilege. Because Kimora talked about how Ming uses her credit card and uses it a lot. And it's at places like YSL and Hermes. And I'm like, I love that for her. But at the same time, we see in this season where Kimora is like, you guys need other things besides just working for Baby Fat. You need to have other things. So in the second episode this week, we see Ming do herbolagerie scents and body lotions and things like that. First of all, the aesthetic looked beautiful. I haven't tried it. I don't know what it smells like, but just the aesthetic, I love the fact that she's doing her own thing. But also, I find Aoki so interesting because she's doing the sort of model thing. She also seems to have some body issues, but that's okay. When I say that's okay, I'm not judging her because of that. Hopefully she will get over that and is in therapy. But then she's talking about creating neural, I forgot what she said, basically her own sort of AI. We have to remember this young woman graduated from Harvard University at 20 years old. Okay, with dual degrees. So she's no dummy. So I'm interested to see where she goes and what the next iteration. Right now, I see that she's focusing on the modeling and sort of like the vlogging and influencer stuff, because I think that's easy for her, especially because she already has a platform. And I'm okay with her taking some time and just being a kid, because it feels like you went to Harvard at 16. But Kimora had to do something right with these kids for the kids to be at least doing well on their. That we don't see them rolling out the club high or in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, we don't see that. So Kimora must be doing something right with those kids. None of those kids we see any of those issues. Okay. Aoki in the second episode from this week's Kimora back in the Fab Lane, she's going back to Bali. I don't know if she really sees her father in Bali. She probably just likes the energy of Bali. She did see her father last time she was there. But she's going back to Bali, but she wants to spend some time with her brother Wolfie. They all have personality. All of those kids. Kenzo has personality. Wolfie has personality. Ming has personality. Ming's a little bit more laid back with her personality. Aoki always had personality. I actually see Aoki in Wolfie a little bit. Ming is talking, what I did love this week in their episode. I enjoyed this week's episode more than I enjoyed the first 4 episodes. At one particular, because it was kind of a throwback to what we used to get on her first reality show. Because she goes to this like coffee shop, okay? But it's Asian. It's called Hey Hey. And in honor of Asian Heritage Month, we get to know a little bit more about Kimora, and how, because I always forget too that Kimora is half Black. Her mother is Korean and Japanese, but her father's Black, but she didn't have a relationship with her father. Not the stereotype. Sorry. So she really, in this week's episode, focused on her Asian heritage, and she attended an event celebrating her Asian heritage, Aoki made a joke about how her grandmother really encouraged them to know more about their Korean and Japanese heritage. And she's like, her grandmother was like lived right down the street. And she's like, oh, wait, no, now she lives in Mexico. That's where I get it from. I get it from my grandmother. I want to see the grandmother because I can't remember. I'm sure we probably did. And it's just been so long. If we got to see a lot of the grandmother, I don't believe we got to see a lot of her, but I want to see them as adults with their grandmother. It was a good week. This week's episodes probably were they were my favorite. If I had to rate them, I would say give this week's episodes a 9. They were my favorite this week. I'm trying to think if there were other things that I wanted to talk about. So Ming went to meet with the doctor. Ming had a conversation with her mother, letting her know that she wants to, have this egg retrieval, but she doesn't have money for it. She's like, but I have no money, which I don't believe. I'm sure Ming has her own accounts with money in it. But she's just like, but I have no money. I need you to pay for it. And at first, Kimora's like, me pay for it? She folds very quickly. Because then she's thinking, I can have babies. Even if you decide not to have any babies, I can have babies because I'm doing this egg retrieval for you. Okay. And then in the second episode, this is where we see Ming be celebrated for her new perfume company that she's been working on for a while. I love the aesthetic. Again, I didn't have it in front of me to be like, oh yeah, I've tried it or I smelled it. If I go, I don't know if it's available. I should look it up. I should look it up and see if it's available anywhere nearby where I can go, test it. Let me see, Boulangerie. Let me see. I don't know how you spell that. Boulangerie. Oh, Boulangerie Beauty. Okay, it's a whole business. Okay, the website is cute, y'all. She's gorgeous. I mean, they're all beautiful, and they're all of her kids beautiful in her own way. Let me see. Where can I get this? Shop all. It's cute, y'all. And the prices, it's affordable. I mean, some of y'all might not. No, Perfume Mist, $30? Okay, Perfume Mist, macaroon, pistachio. Okay, good for her. A body oil. I like to see, but you remember the Simmons kids, even the other kids. They were very, Angela and her sister, they were very much starting their own business. Like they were really trying to make a name for themselves. And I can appreciate that, because they could really just be rich kids. I mean, black parents are not going to let you just be rich kids. But I also appreciate they don't let these kids struggle either. Like, I struggle so you did not have to struggle. But that's a whole longer conversation that keeps coming up. I don't mind these black children being spoiled. However, do not disable them. And that's what I can appreciate about Kimora in these last couple of episodes, because she's just like, y'all can be spoiled and I will buy y'all anything you want, but you need to be thinking about the future. Because that's how she grew up. Because she grew up not having a lot, but now she has a lot. And she's like, you can still have a lot, but you should still be thinking about what you're going to have of your own. That's not just baby fat. Because baby fat might not be around forever. So, I mean, there's so many things that they can get into. One of the other things that I loved was when she went to that coffee shop and she was developing her own drink. And what did she end up calling it? A Kimora lychee drink. Aoki ends up showing up. It turns into like a big old party with everyone coming there, and you see Kimora behind the counter making these drinks. It was such a fun episode. These are the moments, producers, if you're watching this, these are the moments that we want to see more of for season 2. We need a season 2. We need a season 2. I don't know if the people are watching it. And if we get a season 2, Kimora, come on the podcast. I would love to talk to Kimora Lee. Oh, and there aren't a lot of people I want to interview or talk to, but I think it would be a fabulous conversation. Can you imagine? I'm like, Kimora, let's talk about it. Did you watch the Diddy doc? You don't have to allude to, because Kimora, we need you safe. I just want to know, did you watch the Diddy doc? Have you been to Bali? What exactly stopped you? Look, I would ask so many questions, but you just never know. That's the thing that you guys don't see behind the scenes, that sometimes these teams will be like, well, no questions about this or that. I will say, when I interviewed Faith Evans, never. There was no question where they I couldn't ask. Faith Evans, I mean, quite a few. Like, it's very rare, but there are some teams like, don't ask about this, don't ask about that. Just saying. I thought Faith Evans, because Faith Evans was probably like one of my favorite interviews, just because she was just so cool and so down to earth, and she was just willing to answer anything. I don't remember some of the things I asked her. I need to go back and listen to that. You can hear my old interviews that date back 15 years. Kempire Radio YouTube channel. Go subscribe. I'm still posting stuff there. Just go subscribe. Just saying. All right. I think I'm good, though. Is there anything else that I wanted to talk about? I probably will be going live later today to recap Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but not just recap Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. There's some Bravo-related news that we're going to talk about, and if there's anything else that I want to say about Kimora back in the Fab Lane, I'll talk about it there. Or owning Manhattan, I'll talk about it there. Guys, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. Easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. And don't forget, the Kempire After Dark live show returns to New York City Friday, March 13th at the Green Room 42. A night of hot topics, tea being spilled, you spilling some tea. The last one, some people spilled some tea there too. And don't forget, there's a live stream option and meet and greets available. So make sure you're checking it out. If you're coming to New York, there's meet and greet tickets available. Just pay attention to when you buy your ticket. Okay? All right. And live stream options available at the bottom of that page. Okay? All right. Did you like the video yet? Do you subscribe? Because some of y'all watching still not subscribed. I don't know why. You're the reason why we can't get to 1 million subscribers. But we will get to 1 million subscribers in 2026, right? Come on. Let's speak it into existence. Yes, let's get to 1 million subscribers in 2026. Why not? Why not? Thank you to our King Scars. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to our subscribers and those of you watching. We appreciate it. Maybe this video convinced you to subscribe to the channel. We don't just talk about housewives. We don't just talk about reality television. We talk about everything in pop culture. So be sure to check out some of the things that you missed and subscribe to the Kempire podcast today. I will be uploading this episode, but also some more information in regards to the Russell and Kimora of it all. So be sure to subscribe to the Kempire podcast and be sure to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Happy holidays, guys. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for watching and listening. Bye, y'all.
Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. For more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.